Watto, folks. Thomas Benjamin Wild Esquire here. I'm delighted to be here for the third episode of Quiet Night In with fabulous friends. Some great guests on this evening for you to enjoy. Fantastic singers, musicians. We'll get to that in a little while. Before I get fully started, don't forget that if you are enjoying the show, you can like, you can comment. We'll be trying to read your comments as they appear on the screen. We might get lost in them a little bit. But yeah, do make sure you're commenting, ask questions and that kind of thing. If you want to subscribe to my channel, then do so if you haven't done so already. And if you want to leave us a PayPal tip, then you can do that in the description below the video. That's always nice. I'll be splitting that and dividing that equally between all of us. So I'm already seeing some people appearing online here. So I'm not gonna delay much further. I'm going to start off with my first song. I'm just going to double check that the stream's coming through okay. And everybody can hear me okay. Can everybody hear me okay? Let me know in the comments. And let's add on this as well so you know what you're watching. I'm going to start off with a song that is really designed for a Friday night. But I'm going to subtly change the lyrics to suit. It's Thursday night, I'm all alone. Technically I'm not alone, I've got two guests and my partner Sarah is downstairs. But we'll look past that. My significant other has gone off out with her friends, so I'm sitting on my own. But I don't mind, no I won't protest. Because it's times like these when I can indulge in what I like doing best. Don't need no one because I'm getting pants drunk. An evening in I love to spend it pants drunk. Stripped down to my underwear, sitting back in my armchair, feeling all devil may care with an evening's worth of time to spare. Please don't try to knock, I'm getting pants drunk. You could be in for quite a shock, I'm getting pants drunk. No need for dressing to impress, just sitting back in my own mess. I'm content on my own, just getting pants drunk. Curry for one, maybe Chinese. Or perhaps I'll order both as tonight I'll do just as I damn well please. How about that Netflix documentary about Colombian drug cartels or the fall of Nazi Germany? Don't need an invite out, I'm getting pants drunk. I'm content to lie about, just getting pants drunk. I'll pour myself another drink, fart and revel in the stink, just sitting on my own here getting pants drunk. Please do not disturb, I'm getting pants drunk. There's nothing more superb than getting pants drunk. I'll look up history on Wikipedia, be deliberately contrary on social media, troll and cause an online fight, and watch you carry on all night. Don't feel bad for me, I'm getting pants drunk. You probably don't want to see me getting pants drunk. Roaming around the house all wild and free, disregarding all sense of dignity. Nights at home and mate for getting pants drunk. The World Wide Web at my fingertips, a source of endless fascination with my lager cotton chips, but not forgetting the incognito setting. A gentleman never subjects a lady to a search history she may find upsetting. There's nothing I love more than getting pants drunk. Friday nights were made for getting pants drunk. Thursday nights never do I feel more grand than when I'm scratching my balls and sniffing my hands, sitting on my arse just getting pants drunk. Okay, folks watching at home, you know what time it is. I want you to repeat after me. Pants drunk, pants drunk, pants drunk, pants drunk. Don't need no one because I'm getting pants drunk. An evening in I love to spend it pants drunk. Stripped down to my underwear, sitting back in my armchair, feeling all devil may care with an evening's worth of time to spare. Please don't try to knock, I'm getting pants drunk. You could be in for quite a shock, I'm getting pants drunk. No need for dressing to impress, just sitting back in my own mess. I'm content on my own, just getting pants drunk. No one to judge my choice of tunes. No longer in my headphones, banished up to the spare room, the bathroom door. your hands stay open wide. The dog doesn't complain about the noises from inside. There's something to be said for getting pants drunk. Why not stay at home instead and just get pants drunk? Nobody to tell you how to spend your time. You can do it your way and I'll do it mine. Nothing can compare to getting pants drunk. There we go, folks. Pants drunk on a Thursday evening rather than a Friday. Hello, everybody commenting there. I can see Ellie's there. Hi, Ellie. Hi, Angela. Richard. Now, I'm just saying the names of people whose names are actually up there because there are various handles on here. Matt, End of the World, saying hello all as well. JLM, I'm not entirely sure who that is. Dr. B. Everidge, it's lovely to see you all on here. Richard Gilbert, Maria, hello Maria, over in Wisconsin. Lovely to see you all there. So, yes, this is the third episode of this. I'm trying to keep it regular this year. Keep up the regular live streams. But actually, it gets quite boring playing all just my songs, which is why it's always nice to invite guests on. So, my first guest this evening is somebody I've known for a few years now. We first met, we'll talk about where we first met eventually, on the steampunk scene. She is incredibly well known on that scene and beyond. I'm talking, of course, of the fabulous Alice Strange. I'm going to now add her to the screen. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Alice. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So just talking about, how long we've known each other. We first met down in Gosport, wasn't it? It was Gosport Steampunk Festival.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
That was my very first steampunk event.
It was, I remember, yeah. It's like, welcome to steampunk. It's mad here.
Oh, no, that was great. And that was along with Victor and the Bully as well.
It was, yeah.
So yeah, but then since then we've kind of met at various other things. Now, where is it you're based? Because myself and Chris were having a chat earlier because I did a sound check with him earlier, and I couldn't remember exactly where you're based.
I'm just outside Lincoln.
That's what I thought. I thought it was Lincolnshire. I knew you were kind of
just outside Lincoln.
North Midlands kind of area.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, in the middle bit off to the side.
So yeah, as I mentioned, you're incredibly established on the steampunk scene. How did you get involved on that? I mean, we'll go back a little bit further than that. But how did you end up kind of doing the steampunk shows?
Well, I was a steampunk before I was doing original music, so I was kind of already in that community, and I was more focused on like costuming and things like that, and just enjoying the events for what they were. And naturally, you're involved in something like that, it's going to inspire you a little bit in your music, and some of those sounds and ideas are going to sneak into things. And they did sneak in, and it turned out that steampunks liked the music I was making, even though I never expressly kind of made the music to be steampunk, because I was a steampunk. It kind of, I guess, came out in the music.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of simply. I knew about the steampunk scene when I first started doing what I was doing, but I wasn't in any intention to get doing it. But they do seem to embrace people, don't they?
Yeah, and I think it's because there's no, I guess, distinct sound of steampunk. So it's just kind of steampunk's like a lot of different music, so they embrace a lot of different things in it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So going back then, how did you? Because you're classically trained, aren't you, as a singer?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So how did you end up kind of doing what you're doing then? What kind of inspired that?
Well, I kind of got into singing because of musicals. I'm just a huge lover of Disney and musicals have my heart. I just love them. So that's kind of where I started singing. And then I discovered that I can go quite high with my voice. So my singing teacher would just like, you ever thought of doing opera or any classical stuff? So then she'd start to slide some of those in. And she was actually, her name was Thelma Broderick, and she was in the London School of Music, whatever it's called, I can't remember what it's called, the big fancy one. She was in the class above Maria Callas.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, she knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's talking about here. And yeah, she taught me how to sing classically. And I just loved opera. I just love how ridiculously overdramatic
Yeah.
it is. Just adored doing it. But what I did find was the opera world is very precise. Like, if you don't sing it exactly as it was written,
Yeah.
don't sing it.
Oh, and also
I
the dispute about kind of whether you should be singing in English at all.
Yeah, exactly. I always used to sing it in Italian because I love Italian. I think it sounds so beautiful. So I was definitely on like sing it in its original language. But yeah, I wasn't into that. I wanted to put my own stamp on
Yeah.
the song that I was singing, and then I realized, well, the only real way that you can own a song like that is write your own.
Writing yourself. I mean, it's a similar thing for me. I ended up doing kind of youth opera and things like that. And I was actually part of a fledgling opera company
Oh wow!
after finishing university. But I mean, I was in the youth opera. I got cast in parts, but I was not as good a singer as any of the people that I was singing with. There's one particular singer. Well, I had to play a part and I had to sing a duet with her. And it was just, when you just kind of go, yeah, I'm not a singer.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
got proper opera
They
voice.
are so scary.
But also, I wasn't great at reading music either. So I was kind of like
Yeah.
pretending I could sight read the music.
Yeah, I'm sort of a little bit like that. I'm not great at reading. I can read a little bit, not great. So I can just fake my way through a little bit.
What's my note? Oh,
Yeah.
and
That
the next
one's
one?
above that one, so it's higher.
So yeah, so actually, kind of start off on all that stuff, but you also do fashion as well. So you also kind of create kind of fashion designs and things like that. So what? Yeah, explain that a little bit.
Well, that was actually originally what I wanted to do before I did music. I used to create jewelry and accessories and clothing, which is how I got into steampunk because I traded at an event and somebody approached me and said, your designs would go down really well with steampunks. And I was like, well, what the heck is steampunk? I Googled it and it was immediately like, found my people finally. So it's kind of, that's where I originally was because I wanted to go into costume design for film and theatre.
Yeah.
So I was really interested in that, and it wasn't until a teacher told me that I'm clearly way more passionate about music than that. And she was like, you've got them the wrong way around. You're treating the music like a hobby, the fashion like a career. She's like, you should be doing music as the career, fashion as the hobby. And she's right.
But you still do fashion videos and kind of creation videos and things like that, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
On your through your YouTube channel.
Yeah, on my YouTube channel, all of my social media is under Alice Strange Official. And on my YouTube channel, I cover events that I go to. So I do vlogs of events, but I also cover any costumes that I'm making at the minute or props.
And
that
you
I'm
make your
building.
own. You make your own costumes, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I make a lot of my own costumes because I just have so many wild ideas. And I come
Trying to
across
explain them to someone else.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I'll just do it myself. I'll do it myself, and I'll get it what I want. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you weren't always Alice Strange. It was Alice's Night Circus originally.
Yeah, it
was
used
that?
to be Alice's Night Circus. Yeah.
So
And
actually,
my-
a lot of the originals, if you're looking for Alice's original material, a lot of it is under Alice's Night Circus still.
It is, yeah,
on
it's under- 'cause-
Spotify and on all of those
yeah,
kind of
it
things.
turns
isn't it?
out you can't change that name once it's out there, which is really frustrating. But there we go. No, I had to change the name because people kept mistaking it as like Alice's Night Garden. There's that thing in the Night Garden, the
Oh
kids
yeah, in
program.
the Night Garden, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
so everybody would call me like Alice's Night Garden or like in the Night Garden, and I was like, no, that's the kids show. I was like, it's fine, I'll make it easier, I'll just change my name. But that came after a lady mistook it for being something a little bit naughty, and that was the moment where I went, oh, this has to change.
Yeah, got to change this now.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I've been told that Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire is. I remember when I explained that to our local promoter who had me supporting Mr. B, and he was like, "So what do you want me to put it on as?" Thomas Benjamin Wilde Esquire. So that's a lot to fit on a post.
It's a lot,
As in, people always get my name wrong, but I'm sticking with it.
yeah.
Because
Well, that's the thing. Like
that's
once
it
you've
now.
got it, and once people sort of they get there, they know it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so people can find you under Alice's Night Circus on the various streaming platforms and that kind of
Yes,
thing.
as it's really confusing now. So it's Alice's Night Circus and Alice Strange, and under both of those, you'll get slightly different stuff.
Yeah, because the Alice Strange one, I noticed Alice Strange. 'Cause I went on there the other day and actually nicked one of your covers from there for my playlist for when I'm out and about.
Yeah, that has the Echoes album on it.
Yeah, and that's an album of various covers, isn't it? That you've
Yeah,
got
that was
on
the
there.
album I always said I would never do and ended up doing because we had lockdown. So I had nothing else to do. So I was like, well, I guess
We're
I'm
all
doing
guilty of
covers.
doing certain things over lockdown, like this live streaming malarkey.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what happened, and you were doing a lot of that over lockdown as well, weren't you?
Oh god, I did so many. I came up with this ridiculous idea of doing a requests show. So like, if there would be no rehearsal, I would just go in and let people suggest songs, and they would suggest like the stupidest songs, like oh gosh, Tequila. And I'd be like, really? Oh, I guess I'm doing Tequila. So off I'd go, stand there for 3 minutes and just go, hey, Tequila.
Anyway, right, I'm going to move ahead, and I'm going to hand over to you now because you're going to sing us a song. So
I am, hopefully, if technology.
while you
likes me.
move, I will, because you Alice has got a whole second camera set up. It's all rather flashy.
I had to just make it too difficult. I just made it too difficult, is what I did.
So, folks, I'm gonna I'm gonna hand you over then to the fantastic Alice Strange. I need to take myself out the stream. I'll wait till she's on camera. And she can't actually hear me.
On a cold April morning, the clock strikes 13, 1001 shades of grey. Follow the leader and drink down a cup of compliance, but I don't need your thought control. I've got my own brave new world. Don't be afraid of the dark. It's just a place for your mind to wander. Far away, come back another day. Oh, don't be afraid of your heart. It's more than the sum of its parts. So follow me, far away, curious world. Untold curiosities, wheels within wheels, wonderful realm of macabre. Welcome to my love affair with a strange yet familiar. Embrace the eccentricity, a sweet but twisted symphony. Don't be afraid of the dark. It's just a place for your mind to wander. Far away, come back another day. Oh, don't be afraid of your heart. It's more than the sum of its parts. So follow me, far away, curious world. Untold curiosities, wheels within wheels, wonderful realm of macabre. Take off your pinstripes, your costume awaits at the door. Just free your mind and explore. Don't be afraid of the dark. It's just a place for your mind to wander. Far away, come back another day. Oh, don't be afraid of your heart. It's more than
excellent stuff. Excellent stuff there. So, in fact, one thing I forgot to point out: did that song didn't that get turned into a marching band tune as well at one point?
Yes,
Isn't there a video?
it
I seem to remember.
It did, yeah. An American, what do they call them? They had like a special name, and yeah, they took it to a competition and everything. And they rearranged it. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Columbus,
great song.
Ohio, I believe it was. Their marching band. Yeah.
Excellent. So, Liesl Cigar Box Guitar says, "Sweet, what a voice, what a song." So great stuff. All right, Alice, I will see you in a little while because I am going to now move on to our second guest, who I'll introduce in a second. But Alice will be back very, very soon and joining us very soon for the various discussions that we're going to be having. So, if you're enjoying the show, folks, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm reading the comments as much as I can there. So some lovely comments there. Ellie saying, "Amazing, Alice, lots of claps." Matt Jarvis says, "That was chuffing awesome." And Liesl Cigar Box Guitar says, "You have a beautiful voice, darling." And so some really nice comments there. So if you are enjoying the show, you can actually leave us a PayPal tip as well through the link in the description. Because, you know, us starving artists, it's nice. I will be dividing the proceeds of that between all three of us this evening. So, by way of an introduction to our next guest then, who I actually was on tour with just before Christmas, back in November, and I've got some shows coming up in the future as well. I am going to share this little clip with you of us playing together in Manchester back in November. So take a look. I didn't have this lined up properly, and I turned the volume down on it. So give me a second, and we'll play it.
Some things in life are bad, they can really make you mad. Some things just make you stare and curse. When you're chewing on life's gristle, down rumble, give a whistle, and this'll help things turn out for the best.
I'm talking, of course, of the excellent Mr. Chris Tavener, who is joining me in the stream now as well. Hi, Chris.
Good evening, Tom.
I'm going to turn the volume down on this now, and there we go. There's a little taster there of our show together, which we'll be taking to Sheffield and Newcastle next month. But more on that in a little bit. Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you doing, Tom?
It's always a little bit difficult being the second guest on, because you end up sitting there kind of just. You're able to watch the show.
It's strange, and I get to listen to her lovely voice.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. It's not like you're kind of sitting in the dark, kind of not able to watch the show. But anyway, I've not seen you since November. How's 2023 going so far?
It's going well, thank you. Yeah, it's going slowly for me anyway, because I've had a little bit of a holiday break in January, it's always a quiet time for gigs and stuff. So yeah, I managed to get away for a little bit.
So when you say you managed to get away with it for a little bit, where did you go, Chris? Where did you go?
I went to New Zealand, Tom, as I think you found out earlier on Soundcheck. Yeah, and I know you've been there before as well yourself. But what a place! Amazing country to visit. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Stunning nature, and yeah, the Kiwi people are really lovely people.
Yeah.
So tough what they're going through at the moment in Auckland as well, and some of it. But we were there a bit earlier before the sort of
before all of that
cyclone
stuff
hit and everything. But yeah, lovely country.
Yeah,
really nice
it is.
I don't know if you have any New Zealand Kiwi followers on here.
Well, my sister lives in New Zealand. My sister lives in Wellington.
Oh, true, yeah. Yeah, no.
So, hi,
True.
Katie, if you're watching.
If she's watching. Hi.
So yes.
So yeah, I did that, and then obviously spent a lot of time writing, to be honest with you, kind of taking stock and making some plans really. So lots of stuff in development, not yet unveiled. But yeah, I've got some plans, hopefully for the latter half of this year, being all mysterious.
Oh, exciting times! Exciting times. So we first got in contact with each other a couple of years ago, didn't we? Was it beginning of last year, or was it just at the end of the year before? Wasn't it?
It was in 2021, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're being very humble right now, Tom, because it was me who got in touch with you. I think.
I got a
And
lovely
was
email
like,
from
love
Chris.
your stuff. Your stuff is great. And I was like, can we please do something together? And I think it was me who was like, yeah, like we should do something. We should do some shows or something. Or, you know, I was just kind of fanboying really.
And then I went and had a look at your stuff, and I thought, oh, he's quite good. And so yeah, so last year I organised a bunch of shows, and you organised a bunch of shows, and we kind of did 6 shows together.
Yeah.
That one was in Manchester, where Chris is actually from. How long have you been doing the act as it is at the moment then?
So I've been writing. I sort of write satirical songs mostly, but songs that aren't necessarily from my perspective. But yeah, kind of tongue-in-cheek songs. I've been doing that for probably writing them for about 10 years, and I've been gigging them for about 6 or 7, so about 7 years or something like that. So I've been on the gigging circuit for quite some time, and as I'm sure you well know, I've gone from different scenes. I started in quite a folk club scene. Of like playing to, you know, a room where it's like in a sing around where you play one song each, and then you each play your own song, and a lot of open mics and stuff. And then it's sort of the journey has changed from kind of playing more like festivals and on different acoustic festival circuits, and yeah, playing into venues, and yeah,
it's like I'm trying to find my people as well. This is the thing. I think we're kind of we're those artists. We're the kind of artists who float between different, don't quite sit in any kind of particular genre or scene there.
Yeah, it has its benefits for sure, because you end up straddling like comedy and music sometimes. I think promoters don't know what to do with you. That's what I always find with
yes, no, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
They don't know how to pitch you.
Now, I'm going to talk about something now that I wasn't initially going to talk about, and then Vix, who often watches the live streams, mentioned that she wasn't able to watch this one live, because she was going to see Sir Ian McKellen, doing some show near where she lived, and that made me think, hang on a second. Chris has worked with Ian McKellen. Let's look at that, because actually, yeah. Do you want to explain that a little bit? Because you did some work with Sir Ian McKellen, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We've got an Ian McKellen connection on the stream. So yeah, so I basically a few years back. Oh yeah, it's about 3 or so years back. Someone got in touch through email and said, "Hi, I'm a writer who working with Great Ormond Street Hospital. I'm putting some short films together. We've got Sir Ian McKellen and James Corden attached to do the film. Would you like to write some music?" And me being, I'm just playing acoustic clubs, and I'm just thinking, I'm sorry, is this spam? Is this like what? And then there was spelling errors in it and stuff, and I was like, I'm not sure this is very serious. But then I replied back to it, and it turned out it was genuine. It was from this guy at Great Ormond Street who was wanting to do these films, because they were all the stories for the films were ideas by children who were at the hospital. So it was kind of a very charitable thing to do, and Sir Ian McKellen was attached to it as for the one that I did, which was this concept about a meteor and a moon, which was actually a really good idea, a really sweet idea by this 7-year-old who came up with this idea about a meteor flying through space, kind of very alone, and then meeting this moon who becomes like his friend.
Okay, so I'm gonna share a little clip from it now, because actually you did some acting in it as well, didn't you?
Yeah, for my sins.
So let's take a look at that.
Huh?
That was hot and then cold.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for staying. Most meteors just bounce on by.
Ah,
Don't even stop to say hello. You can get rather lonely out here in the vastness of space.
So it's like you hear Ian McKellen's voice. It's Gandalf.
it's Gandalf. Ah. And I'm the biggest Lord of the Rings fan too. Oh well, you know, I absolutely love that franchise. So yeah, it's yeah.
So,
I always picture him. As
Really
that
impressive. And actually, you didn't just act in it. You also wrote. So you wrote the music for it as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So yeah, from that point, they kind of said we would like you to write something, and they said, by the way, there's a few people who we'd like talking to. But luckily, they picked the song that I've written for them for this role. And James Corden was originally going to voice the Meteor, but I think he had too many LA commitments at the time, and so they got stuck with me singing it and acting. Yeah.
So I'm gonna play the little song that you did now. So did you play all the instruments on this as well, or did you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, not sure if I did all the percussion, but yeah, pretty much everything else.
So here we go.
Universe, it's terribly dark on your own. When you're with someone else, it starts to feel like home. Hold on, hey, is it just me? Or did I just grow a tree? Look at us now, we're turning green. Look at the universe, it's terribly dark on your own. When you're with someone else, it starts to feel like home.
So not only did you act with Ian McKellen, but you also he also sung a song that you'd written.
Yes, yeah. I remember getting the voice notes of that back. I was actually away doing a show, and they just sent me the raw vocal of Ian McKellen, like no instrument backing, and it was just like he just came back, and it was "Look at the universe," and I was just like playing them back on my phone, just thinking, "Oh, this is really weird." Gandalf singing my chorus is
absolutely glorious. Absolutely glorious. Anyway. Aside from Ian McKellen, who would you say your kind of main musical influences are?
I think it started really. The reason that I write the songs that I do, I think, mainly because of Randy Newman.
Okay.
And he's got such an interesting way of writing and looking at the world that he writes these sort of character-based songs, and his writing was what inspired me to write. And then I discovered sort of Loudon Wainwright and Tom Lehrer, and you know, the songs of Eric Idle originally as well.
Oh yes, absolutely. I think those are songs that just ingrained into us, and particularly those of us who are into this kind of, you know, the comedy kind of humorous music and stuff.
Oh yeah, you can't escape it. I mean, those comparisons. I mean, we had the Monty Python earlier on, and I just I remember my dad always playing me like the Monty Python CD in the car when we were little, and just hearing him like you know, always pressing the button to skip the song when "Sit on My Face" came on.
Well, the thing is, I didn't realise that was that wasn't what the song was called, because it's not.
Yeah. What is it called? Is it called?
I think it's
else?
"Sing As We Go." I think it's "Sing As We Go."
Yeah.
Hang on, Alice might know. What's that original song called, Alice? Can you remember what that one's called?
Brought you in to answer a question.
Thanks for that one.
That you didn't know the answer to.
Is it "Sing As We Go"? Na, 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 na. But
Sing As We Go.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, it's
I didn't
one of
actually know
those
that.
songs that you end up hearing a lot. Anyway, if somebody knows that, because originally, I I just always known it as "Sit on My Face." So yeah, sorry. To bring
I will forever notice that.
Sorry, Alice. Do you know what song we're talking about, by the way?
Yeah,
That's fine. That's fine. Because I remember.
But no, I don't know what it's called.
I remember kind of a group of girls singing at a vintage event I was at one time, and them singing along, and I was just like, I've always just known this song as "Sit on My Face," And they looked at me kind of like really, really confused. I went, sit on my face. And I think they thought I was really weird. Because they'd obviously not heard that version of it.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, I am going to now hand over to Chris. I'm going to remove Alice in a second, and I'm going to remove myself, and I'm going to hand you the very capable hands of Mr. Chris Tavener.
Thank you very much, Tom. So I thought I'd start with something that I released from an EP last year, and it was the very first song on that EP. It's about that strange kind of retail therapy that, can sometimes be a comfort in the middle of the night, but then you realise when the item you've ordered from Amazon Prime arrives, you realise, I'm not really even sure why I bought this. It's called All I Need. I curled against my laptop as I lay in bed. I couldn't shake the creeping sense of existential dread. But just as I was scrolling, a vision came to me as an advert in the corner of my screen. What I need is a big glass with a strobing LED, or this cheap pack of tea towels with the face of Mr. T. I could be very happy if my hamster had a lead. Oh, this is what I'm missing. It's all that I need. I found them on a website, ordered one of each. I never thought that shopping ads would bring me in peace. I'm cured of any sadness. Bless the modern times for the answer to the darkness in our minds. What I need is a toaster, I can really say it's me. All I need is a coaster with a proper celery, and I'll be ever happy with a book I'll never read. Cause this is what I'm missing, it's all that I need. Whoa, whoa. Oh, but what if these things just hide the truth within? What if there's some hidden cost for shipping? Well, I'm already this far in. What I need is a box set of a show I didn't see. All I need is a rope swing, and I'll also get a tree. Then I'll be ever happy, cause it's lifetime guaranteed. Well, this is what I'm missing. It's all that I need. This is what I'm missing. It's all that I need.
Excellent work there, sir. Excellent work.
Thank you very much.
Great work, Mr. Chris Tavener. So, Chris, if people want to find your music, where's the best place for them to go and have a look?
I have a bunch of music videos on YouTube. That's probably a nice place to start. They're quite narrative based, a lot of my songs, so it really worked on YouTube, but also Spotify. And even, if you're of that kind, you go on TikTok too. I've got some weird stuff on TikTok.
So Chris even wrote a football song this year.
I did.
Last year.
In fact, funnily enough, I've written 3 over the years. I actually wrote one for previous World Cup and Euros. I just can't get enough of it, apparently. But there's a lot to take the mickey out of and have fun with football.
So Matt asks, where do we have a link for the video where you with Ian McKellen? Do you have a link?
Oh yeah, let me drop that in the chat for you.
Yeah,
I will get that in there. Don't worry.
Excellent stuff. Excellent. Right. Okay. I am going to take you off the stream now, Chris. Thank you very much. And you'll be back in a little while.
See you shortly.
So, Chris Tavener, folks. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And also make sure that you subscribe to both Alice's and Chris's YouTube channels as well, because they've both got YouTube channels. They both create fairly regular content, so make sure you get on there and like those. But you can also leave us a tip in the via PayPal through the link in the description. I'll be splitting the proceeds from that equally amongst all. I'm going to play you another song now, though. Let's just hide this. Now, this is a song I wrote a couple of years ago about the reasons why I often don't answer messages on email and social media. Apologies for the late reply. I genuinely just forgot. I didn't mean to leave you hanging. In truth, this happens quite a lot. I read your message straight away, but my response was complicated. So I left some time to think on it. I hope that you're not too frustrated. Apologies for the late reply. Apologies for the late reply. I thought I'd send you my response. Sorry, guys. Forgetting my own lyrics there. Let's start that again. Apologies for the late reply. I thought I'd send you my response, but your rather snarky follow-up made me jump to it at once. I'd composed it quite succinctly and precisely to that end. Then a dog video distracted me, and I forgot to click on send. Apologies for the late reply. I was unsure of what to say. In truth, I hoped if I ignored you, then maybe you would go away. But my guilt at your persistence required acknowledgement, and so my answer to your small request is a big resounding no. There we go, folks. The reasons why I often don't answer emails, Facebook messages and that kind of thing, mostly folks, are verse 1 and 2. Very few 3s, but every so often. So there we go. That song's available on my 3rd album, which you can find on whatever music platform you're looking on. So let's bring everybody back in again. Hello, Chris. Hello, Alice. Welcome back to the stream. So thank you very much for joining me this evening. So what I like to do is have a bit of a discussion conversation rather than just having somebody sitting out by themselves for ages until their next song. So the first subject that I've come up with for this evening is, what music are you guys listening to currently? So what recommendations would you make in terms of music and artists and things that are on your kind of playlists currently? I have a 2023 playlist already, which I've started to build up with various stuff. Both of you guys are on it.
Hey.
So Alice is Edith Piaf, Je ne regrette rien, is on my 2023 playlist. I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. Usually it's Curious World.
Yeah, no regrets for 2023.
And then Chris, what's your one? I think it is the one that you've just played. Actually, that one's
is
on
it?
my playlist. Yeah.
Ah, you see, I
for
knew
this
all
year.
along.
So I started with Chris. In fact, we've not heard from Alice for a little while. So Alice, what are you currently listening to? What music are you currently listening to?
This is the bit where I like. Do I actually admit what I'm listening to? Do I try and sound really cool? No, I've been listening to two artists who are at absolute polar extremes at the minute. So I don't know what that means for the music I'm writing right now. But I've been listening to Conan Gray for like the last 6 months, and I'm obsessed with his album Super Ache. It's so beautiful, and I don't normally care for like charty poppy type music.
Okay, I was going to ask. I've not heard of Conan Gray.
This
I don't think
kid
I have
is
either.
Ridiculously.
Yeah, this kid basically came up through TikTok, and he went viral with a song called Heather, and he's made it big. And he just released an album at the back end of last year called Super Ache. It's got the most like heartfelt, cry your eyes out sort of songs on it. It's beautiful. So I've just been listening to that obsessively on a loop. And then at the total opposite end of that spectrum, I've been listening to a really weird band called High Lung.
Right.
And I don't even know how to describe these guys. They're like super atmospheric, ancient, folk, traditional, weird Viking music.
That sounds amazing.
They're so good.
What a combination of
Yeah,
everything.
it's like really weird. I have a really weird like ear for
Do you know what? I listen to some very odd stuff as well. I tell you what, actually, if you've not already come across them, I think you'd really enjoy. Have you come across Punk Rock Factory at all yet?
No, but that name sounds familiar.
So they started doing a thing where they do kind of covers of like punk rock covers of Disney songs.
Yeah, I know they are. Yes.
It's just they're so good.
Yes. They are really good. You're like, that shouldn't work, and then it absolutely does.
Like every Disney song.
Yes.
But in particular, the ones that have been written by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, yeah.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yes.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah.
And they just the latest one they did a version of You'll Be Back from Hamilton.
Yeah.
And
I've not seen that one. I love that song though.
It's so good. It just works so well.
I'm gonna have to check that out now.
Because they all work really well as kind of slightly early noughties pop punk songs.
Yeah, I think so.
yeah.
It's really good music to work to.
They're just so adaptable, those songs, aren't they? As well, I heard some great like Disney versions. Ska versions of like Disney songs as well.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Yeah, really good. Under the Sea and stuff.
But like when you realise that actually kind of good songs suit any kind of genre, you can kind of change them up and actually you can really make them work. Who do you listen to at the moment, then, Chris? Give us some recommendations.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
gonna
I
have
was
to go
just
back through
listening
and listen to kind of the ones that Alice mentioned. So I'll
so
get back
confused.
through.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I was just listening to you guys mention about. I'm just going to pull up so I can get his name right. Pull him up on Spotify. Okay, so yeah, Philip Labus. I'm gonna have to spell it in the chat, basically. But he basically, you were saying about TikTok stars. He's a bit of a TikTok star, but he's in like the musical theatre sort of realm. But he writes pop songs, but they all sound like they could quite easily be musical theatre because he's an actor as well. He's American. And he released 4 albums last year for every season. Spring, autumn, summer and winter. I mean, puts everyone to shame, doesn't it? I mean, it's ridiculous.
4 albums a year.
Well, it's not ideal for you. It's not a great motivator for your work ethic.
What's your year to album
Oh my God, it's not very good.
ratio?
Nothing like that. So yeah, he's great. I mean, I just wanted to throw a mention in for him really, but I've been listening to a lot of like Sam Fender and Wet Leg, kind of rock based, quite lyrical stuff.
Yeah. I love
that's
Wet
always
Leg,
the stuff
though.
that
Absolutely love Wet Leg.
Yeah, they're great. Seems obvious to mention them after the Brits and everything, but
Yeah.
they just are really good, aren't they? I always listen to, Courtney Barnett as well. She feels like maybe the precursor to Wet Leg, and she's great as well. She's Australian, Courtney Barnett. She's very good too. So those two and Sam Fender I really like too. And yeah.
I mean,
that's
I
kind of-
find myself listening to. I listen to a lot of older stuff as well. Somebody mentioned. Do you remember the band Lindisfarne?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned a song by them, "Meet Me on the Corner," and I hadn't listened to it since I was like a kid, and so I was like, I've got to go and listen to that now, and it just kind of brought back a whole load of stuff. So I've been listening to a lot of old folk music,
Nice.
just because people reminded me that it existed.
I had a super.
Got a lot of the records down there because I've got my parents' record collection down there. So it's
Nice. I had a really similar experience recently when I used to play banjo. That was actually I learned that before guitar, and I started listening to some Flat and Scruggs. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're like a duo. They're kind of pioneers of bluegrass music in the States, and I used to listen to them a lot when I was learning banjo tunes, and I listened to them again recently. And now my Spotify is just convinced that I love bluegrass music. My daily mix is just like, what has happened to my daily mix?
I get a lot of folk music. I get a lot of folk music on my daily mix on Spotify.
Yeah.
So Alice, because I forgot to ask you earlier, who would you say your kind of big musical influences are?
Ooh, so many. I mean, I grew up listening to all those classics from the 80s. So I'd probably say like Queen and Meatloaf are the ones that my mum had me listening to as a kid. Like
Nice.
They were albums that were just always on repeat around the house. We had like Eurythmics as well, Kate Bush. So I just kind of absorbed, I guess, that theatricality.
Yeah, no, I grew up
kid.
around a lot of kind of old kind of folk music, but also high camp. So there was kind of Donna Summer, and and Meatloaf as camp as anything.
Yeah.
It's
just
just
like
over
telling
the top.
epic stories in
OTT,
just like a
absolutely.
10-minute long.
But the other one as well is the film of Jesus Christ Superstar as well.
Yeah.
I remember watching that when I was a kid, and that was an incredibly influential moment. Herod's song in Jesus Christ Superstar. If anybody's casting for Jesus Christ Superstar, I'd love to play Herod. Let me know. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring the uke along.
I think it'd work with the Banjolele.
Yeah, I
actually,
reckon,
Herod song.
yeah,
I think that could work.
Be fun.
Anyway, I'm going to hand us back over to Alice Strange now because I think it's your turn.
I think it is.
I'm right. I think it is, isn't it? So
I think it is.
going to remove
Definitely, yeah.
myself and Chris. So Chris, see you in a second. And I'm going to hand over to the fabulous Alice Strange.
Any second when I get my technology working.
And if you're hurting, I will replace the noise with silence instead, flushing out your head. If you like it violent, we can play rough and tumble, fall into bed. And I won't breathe so you can recover. When you're in pieces, just follow the echo of my voice. It's okay. Tune into that frequency. Don't fight your reflex. Embrace the instinct you can feel your way through the burden we face in the end. 'Cause it breaks my heart that we live this way. I know people need love, and those people never play the game. And we talk I know you love to take a risk. The past is weakness. Don't beg the question when the answer is war. There are moments when I am overcome, 'cause it breaks my heart that we live this way. I know people need love, then people never play the game. And we talk the talk, we communicate, and then people need love, and those people never play the game. And it breaks my heart, and it breaks my heart.
Excellent work there. Excellent work,
Thank
Alice
you,
Strange.
thank you.
Fantastic stuff.
Turn to my camera.
Thank you very much for that, Alice.
Thank
Great
you.
stuff. I'll be inviting you back on again in just a second.
Yep.
I'm just going to do a quick thing. Folks, if you are enjoying the show, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and subscribe to Chris and Alice's YouTube channels as well. If you like, you can leave us a PayPal tip by following the link in the description. The proceeds of that will be divided among all three of us. It'd be lovely. Buy ourselves a pint or something. So I'm gonna add everyone back in again now and just have a look at some of the comments here. So I'm scrolling back through. So you picked up on the thing that Joey had posted, didn't you, Chris? I just noticed
Yes,
that
I did.
about the posting a link in there. But actually, you could probably send that to me, and I can probably post the link in there. So if you do that
that's a good idea.
I think you can do that on here, can't you, on StreamYard?
Yes,
and then
I'll
I
do
can
that
probably
for you,
post the
yeah.
link. So I can post the link to the meteor and the moon, and for people who want to have a look at it. So Ellie recommends Talking Heads and Bob Dylan as well. Yeah, absolutely. Talking Heads,
Good
Bob
choices.
Dylan, definitely
Yeah.
very good choices there. Angela says there's a francophone Swiss band called Explosion de Caca, which does grindcore covers of kids' TV show themes. I'm going to have to go and check that out. The other thing, have you come across Bardcore?
Bardcore. No.
I can imagine
no.
what that sounds like.
It's basically
Says it all, doesn't it?
kind of pop songs and rock songs, but turned into like kind of medieval things played on lutes and all this.
Oh,
and
I
there's
love
these
that.
bands in America that go around to all the Ren fairs and stuff over there and just rock out all the lutes and various instruments there. So you've got to go. Anybody interested? Yeah, Bardcore is definitely something to go and have a listen to. It'll blow your mind there. So DJ Record Hound said, I listened to Linda's Farn's LP Fog on the Tyne. Yes, I've got that. Fog on the Tyne down there is the LP that I've got actually. It's one of those ones that we used to stick on when I was a kid. Fog on the Tyne and Meet Me on the Corner are the songs I remember the most from that. And lots of people saying that actually they really like kind of finding out about new music, which is why I like to do this section. Because it gives everybody a chance to mention artists and bands that they're enjoying. On that note then, next subject is venues and festivals that you particularly enjoy performing at. Chris, what would you say your favourite festival of the year to perform at is, or the favourite festival that you performed at?
That's a tough question.
Or give us a few
I
of them, or
suppose,
ones that
yeah.
you particularly like.
I'll give you a few. I mean, it's hard to compete with the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which I always like to go out and do a spot at least. I mean, my choices though, if you're looking for new ones, are quite biased towards the northwest, where I'm from as well, of course. So you've got in Cheshire, you've got places like Audland Music Festival, the Acoustic Festival of Great Britain is also not far from here. That's actually quite a fun festival. There's a lot of stuff goes on there. Comedy and music and all sorts. It's all inside Uttoxeter Racecourse, but like all the tents around the side of the racecourse, and it's very like you can just spend like be watching some dance troupe 1 minute and then walked over to some comedy, and then it's very.
It's always the
just-
best kind of thing.
It's almost
isn't it?
like it's like a smorgasbord of a festival. It's really cool. Yeah, it's the best thing to do for sure.
I've
at
probably
festivals.
done this the round the wrong way. We probably should have talked about venues first and then talked about festivals, kind of leading into.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
The summer
yeah,
stuff. No, it's my fault. I kind of mentioned festival. We'll talk about festivals first.
I mean,
That's
I could.
absolutely fine.
Yeah.
We'll talk about venues next. We'll kind of move
Okay.
on to that in a
Sure.
second.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, those. I also like playing at Focus Wales as well. Does quite a lot of good events. If you ever want to come up to play in Wales, up in the north of Wales, that's great. Lots of stuff going on there. So those are a few festivals that I particularly enjoy.
Yeah. So, Alice,
Oh,
festivals. I mean, you
if I
do quite a
pick
lot
one.
of the old steampunk ones. No, just give us a suggestion.
Yeah.
Some of your favourite
I
ones.
mean, probably my favourite one. I love the Llangollen Fairy Festival. Llangollen is such a beautiful place to go, and then it's just such a lovely event and everything just to take part in. And the audience there is like the sweetest audience, and I think I like it because they're all dressed like fairies, so they're all dancing around with their little wings bouncing, and I'm like, this is the most distracting audience ever because they're all so cute.
So is
I
that kind of is there's a railway station or something up there? Is
Yeah,
there?
there's a steam railway down there because they also have there's a steampunk event down there as well, because I sometimes like do alternate years where I'll do the steampunk event one year and then do the fairy festival because it's all run by Tink Bell.
Yeah, I was going to say you've got a fairy festival and then the steampunk one. Are they? Do the same people go to them, or is it different people that are into the fairy scene and different people?
But there is some crossover. It's like you get steampunk fairies.
Yeah, okay.
So you do
I
get
was
like
gonna
some
say.
crossover, but then there's also a lot of different people as well. So it's really nice to kind of see.
I guess it's like the steampunk and the vintage scene, isn't it? Because you go
Yeah.
a lot to a lot of the vintage festivals. And
Yes,
stuff
I
as
do.
well, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
And
Oh, cool.
I've noticed that there's some crossover there as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's that getting dressed up into a different time, even if it's a fantasy time, people quite like to do it. So yeah, I love
Yeah.
the Llangollen one. I love the Fantasy Forest is a new one for me. I just did that last year. Oh my goodness, that was an experience and a half. That's just, I don't even know how to describe Fantasy Forest. It's like an experience. It's amazing. And then obviously Asylum is the big steampunk one as well.
Oh, I did Asylum for the first time last year.
Yeah.
Quite enjoyed that. That was good fun. That was
Yeah,
good fun.
it is good fun. Yeah. So there's a lot of these just like amazing festivals.
I've not
Well, I
played
had to
any of
go-
these. These
I
would be
had
cool
I had to
learn
go
about.
from all the way from Lincoln down to Portsmouth the next day.
I remember.
Where I played
yeah.
a Victorious Festival, which was a
Yeah,
great
I
one.
remember you saying.
But it was going from kind of something very steampunky and very kind of niche to Victorious, which is very kind of, I'd say, kind of mainstream. They had like the Sugar Babes playing there, and
Oh, that definitely is
yeah,
different.
Paolo Nutini and people like that. I'm not necessarily familiar with the work of, and I was on this stage, and it was a massive stage, and it was on the same. They had who was it? Utah Saints were playing on that same stage, and all the acts that were on before me were like dance bands and stuff. I was like, how the hell is this going to go down? But actually, it was quite good fun, and I'd managed to actually catch the Sugar Babes audience as they were coming past.
Oh, that's handy then. Good timing.
Do you know any
just
Sugar
finished.
Babes, Tom? that
Yeah,
you
well, I
just
stood
sneak
and
in there
watched a
on
little
the-
bit of their set from the hill because I could look over and see the screens where they're performing.
Yeah. Oh,
So
great.
that was quite interesting. But yeah, it was the first kind of proper mainstream festival I played at. It was quite weird, and it reminded me when I went to try and queue up and get some food. I was like, okay, this is why I don't go to festivals anymore.
Yeah.
Like I've done a couple of like mainstream ones, and the vibe is very different to like anything else.
It's much. I think actually, the ones that I've got used to are kind of quite community. You know everybody there a lot of the time. And you go to the big ones and nobody knows each other, and it all just feels like slightly kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
Slightly scary. I ended up couldn't get any food that day, so I ended up walking past Greg's on the way back to the train station and getting myself a Mexican chicken
Inspired
sandwich.
Greg's.
Dependable Gregs.
So going back then on that, venues. What are people's favourite venues to perform at?
Who's going
Do you want to go
on that one?
first? Us this time? So-
Alice, if you want to go first. Sorry,
I'll go. Yeah. Well, I like to sing in a theatre setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just love theatres, literally any theatre. I just think they have such a lovely old vibe to them. And I just think the sound in there is amazing. And it's not like the audience isn't so big that they're disconnected from you.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice little bubble.
Because one thing you find, if it's a venue, if people are stood up, they're generally talking and moving about and doing things, and it's harder to get their attention.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas actually a seated theatre audience, I quite enjoy.
Yeah.
But then everybody's listening to everything you do.
Yeah, there's that thing where, like, when they're seated, they've come to listen to some music, but also, it's a bit scary when they're just sat, like, staring at you.
Yeah.
Just, like,
Entertain me.
Like, entertain me. And I'm like, dance, come, please, get up, dance.
Well, yeah, because actually some of your stuff is quite danceable, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So it's always a bit like, well, just stand in front of your chair, I guess. Chair dance.
Wiggle in the chair.
Yeah.
So, Chris, where are your kind of favourite venues?
I think I really agree with Alice about the way that theatres hold people's attention. But the other thing is as well, I play quite a lot of. There's a few small venues up here this way in the northwest that are say like 80 capacity or something like that. When you've got a nice small audience, it's almost awkward to talk to the person next to you because you know you're bothering everyone else if like they're all listening.
Yeah.
You've got people. There's a certain audience size I think where it really works when it's standing. And sometimes it could be nice to get the whole audience swaying or like dancing or
dancing around, audience participation.
Exactly. But the other thing I quite like to look for in venues is something that's got a bit quirkiness to it. We used to have a great theatre that only shut during COVID. That was I recorded an album at in Manchester, and it was so weird and like quirky and fun just to look at aesthetically. It had the torso of a dummy like strapped to the ceiling of the venue, hanging above you, and it had an axolotl just in a tank next to the stage and stuff like that, and it was just like, okay, like why not? So anything that's got like a bit of, I don't know, interesting stuff to look at, because it changes the focus of attention, I think, from you and the act, and I don't know, gets people in the mood for quirky stuff, which is definitely what I bring to the table, I guess.
So, there's a comment there I'm gonna address in a second, but I'll come to that in a sec. The only place I've really performed at, the place I've performed at the most, as what I do, is as well as my local club of Squires, which is great. I always love playing there. Is the National Space Centre.
Oh yes,
because I've literally done the steampunk event there. The last 3 that they've done there, I performed at.
Oh, I love that event.
Oh, it's great! It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I remember when they first got in contact to say, "Do you want to play on the Space Centre?" It was like, "Yeah."
Of course. Do I get to play on a rocket?
It's just like rockets and space stuff everywhere. It's great.
Wow.
So Margaret says, "Is it? Hang on. Where did it go? Where did that comment go? Someone said about telling us about Alice, tell Tom about getting people to stand up in South Korea. Because you played in South Korea, haven't you? This is the thing.
Yeah, I got to go to a festival called Zandari Festa in South Korea, and it was one of these like super grassrootsy festivals where they just took over the university district of this one area, and I'm not even gonna butcher the name of it because somebody will be horrified by it. And I got to play in a couple of different places there, but what I loved was how literally they would take me introducing things. So one of my songs is called Stand Up. So I'd be like introducing the song as Stand Up, and some of them would be sat down on like bar stools or on sofa seats or wherever they were, because some of the bars were like little cabaret bar things. And I'd just be like, and this is Stand Up. And they would all very politely stand and then just politely stare at me. And I was like, oh, no, that's the song.
Actually, kind of like, but it's the perfect audience kind of thing, right? You're going to do exactly what I'm telling you to do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, bless them, I could have told them anything and I think they would have done it for me.
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, Chris, have you played internationally?
Yeah, I've done a little bit. I did a short little tour through Germany and the Netherlands and France as well. We did it in 2018. We were going to call it the Before We Brexit tour, but we didn't. We changed our minds at the end. We thought that caused too much controversy or something. But that was basically the reason we did it. We decided to just go around, and that was fantastic. I mean, I recommend playing in Germany to anyone.
This is the thing. I would love to go and play internationally, but it seemed like kind of just as everything was kind of starting to go that way for me, 2020 happened, and it's all a little bit back to the drawing board. If anybody wants to book me some gigs across the world, we book all three of us. You know,
we'll just do this show everywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, we've got Margaret is watching from Wollongong, Australia.
I saw that in the comments before.
Yeah,
wow.
so yeah,
Good morning.
I'd love to come to Australia and play in Australia, but it's hard enough organising a tour in the UK.
It is.
Right, I'm going to hand over. It's now Chris's turn to give us a song. So I'm going to hand over to Chris, and I'm going to run down to the toilet very quickly as well. So, Alice, we'll see you in a second. I'm going to hand you back over to Mr. Chris Tavener in a second. I'm going to take this banner off now, and I'm going to remove myself from here. Folks, handing back over to Chris Tavener.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. This song is a song that I wrote a couple of years ago. I decided to write a song about traveling millennials who go away traveling and come back with messages for their parents about them not really understanding their true millennial ethos, whatever that may be. And this one's called Postcard Home. Dear old people, we don't really think that you understand us. We can't get off on an office that doesn't really speak to us, and we're sorry that everyone thinks we're inherently selfish, when all that we've ever wanted is all that we've ever wanted, tour the world and live our lives in permanent bliss. If you're not into traveling, then you might as well be dead. That's a fact. It's what Columbus would have said. Dear old people, it's not like you had a dream of your own once, and being married with kids isn't what everybody wants. We want hammocks, but we want them inside so we don't get our phones wet. 'Cause we are digital nomads, and we are carving our own path. We can change the world in ways you won't ever get. If all you do is run hotels, or you pilot all our planes while we meditate and wait for Insta-fame. Hashtag Insta-fame. Dear old people, we just want to write hypothetical letters and be bohemian artists, making the journey last forever. Life's for living, doing Malibu shots on the back of a hippo, and ski while eating a croissant. Review the tropical restaurants that we only went to 'cause of all the reviews. We want to help wash elephants, even if they wash themselves. Most of all, we want to truly find ourselves. and to never be like anybody else. Yours sincerely, all the traveling millennial.
Excellent work there, sir. Excellent work. I just
Thank
kind
you
of
very
letting the guitar ring just a little bit off before I joined back in the stream.
Yeah, it definitely kept me on my tender hooks as well, because I thought, is he not back?
Sorry, Alice. Back on.
Just getting a cup of
She's getting
tea.
a cup of
Getting a
tea.
cup of tea.
And we've got another surprise guest.
So was that Phil we saw in the background there?
It's my dad. He popped in and was like, "Do you want a cup of tea?" I was like, "Yes, please."
Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent stuff. Folks, if you're enjoying this evening, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm trying to read the comments as we're going through at the moment as much as possible. Make sure you subscribe to both Alice Strange and Chris Tavener's YouTube pages as well if you haven't done so already. And if you so feel like it, give us a tip, a virtual tip on PayPal through the link in the description below. We'll be dividing that up amongst the three of us at the end of the next week, because some people watch this delayed, so not everybody's watching it now. It'll pick up views over the next week or so. So what will happen, guys, just to explain it now, is I'll divide that up at the end of next week, and then hopefully give you some money. But yeah, so that's how it's been working. Anyway, moving swiftly onwards then. The other question I always like to ask people is, what are you watching, or what have you watched recently in terms of TV series and films? What recommendations have you got for a good binge watch or a good film? And we're going to start with Chris this time. What are you currently watching? Or you might not watch anything. This is the thing, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny you mentioned this, because I've just seen the comment in there about asking about my poster on the wall, and yes, it is a 100 movies poster. So I'm trying at the moment. I'm focusing my film watching a bit around this, which I've been doing for a while anyway. But New Zealand, going there and getting to go on the flights and stuff was a good opportunity to watch some kind of stuff, really long stuff that I wouldn't ordinarily watch. So I watched. I actually watched The Great Dictator by Charlie Chaplin on the flight over.
going old school there.
The old school film, yeah, and I absolutely loved that. It was great. The comedy still stands up today. It really does. It's brilliant, and the whole speech at the end. I don't know if you've seen it, but really good.
Yeah,
film.
no, years ago I haven't watched it.
Yeah,
watched
brilliant.
it for a while, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Whilst I also watched A Star Is Born, to contrast.
So was that the original stuff? Actually, there's been like 3 versions of it, haven't there? I think
I think there's more than that. I think there's I think there might even be 5 versions or something. It's pretty crazy. I was reading about it afterwards. It's
I remember the
Judy
Barbra
Garland one's the
Streisand
first
one.
one.
There's the one with
Judy
Barbra
Garland one,
Streisand
wasn't
in
it,
it.
first, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I imagine Judy Garland was probably first.
Yeah.
So which one did you watch?
I watched the Lady Gaga one with what's the other guy's
Bradley
name?
Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. That's it. Thanks, Alice. Yeah. That was good. It was. I don't know how it compares to the others. I don't know whether you've seen any of those.
Probably years ago. It's one of those films that my mum really loved back in the 80s, 90s. I remember it being on VHS in our house.
Yeah.
Barbara Streisand, and who was it? Was it? Oh, I can't remember who the actor was in. Somebody would be able to tell us in the comments, though.
I'm sure.
I remember that. I think I've probably got the album down there somewhere as well. Okay, so good.
Yeah,
You watching any TV shows at all?
Yeah, I was just watching a little bit of You earlier this evening. Have you heard of You on Netflix?
Now, Sarah's been watching that.
Yeah.
I was going to start watching it, but I haven't got round to it yet.
Yeah, it's good. It's it's like a psychological drama thriller thing.
There's been some controversy with it because it's kind of like they're making like a sexy serial killer guy. Is it? Is that the
basically? Yeah.
I feel like the thing, because I love You, he's a terrible person, and they definitely make him out to be a terrible person. But the trouble is, Penn Bagley's really good at being terrible.
That's the problem.
He's really good at it. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's attractive, so it's fine." It's like, no, he's not. He's a bad person.
So, Alice,
Yeah,
what have
I
you been
agree.
watching recently? What have you been
Aside
watching
from
recently?
you, because I've been watching The Last of Us.
Oh,
Yeah, oh, it's good. It's
How good was that
Oh, I'm
episode?
hearing, yeah.
How good was the episode a couple of weeks ago with the guy from Ron Swanson?
Nick Offerman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's all.
I was like, oh my goodness. So the little scene is, I feel like this isn't a spoiler, but there was like the strawberries, and he does this little giggle, and I was like, Ron, like, I've never seen you giggle. But no, I'm really enjoying The Last of Us. That is really good.
Have you played the game at all?
I wanted to play the game, and it was one of those ones where I was like, I'm going to get round to it, and then I never got round to it. And now there's a TV show, and I don't want spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
So, like,
I
I'm
actually
gonna
know
wait.
the trouble is I haven't played the games, but I've lived with a flatmate who's played the games, and I know the story.
Oh, so did you end up
series.
sitting watching by default somebody playing video games? While
Yeah,
you sat
kind
in the
of. You just walk in and it's there. It's on the screen. It's always a cutscene of some major plot point. It's like, oh no. So now the series for me, I do want to watch it though. Apparently it's very good. So
yeah,
it's-
apparently
yeah.
they've taken quite big changes from the game as well. The storyline on the game. I think there's been some kind of changes in what they're doing with it. So
Oh well, that's
Yeah,
good.
I've got
then,
nothing
yeah.
to compare it against, so I'm just like watching it
Oh,
with
right.
fresh eyes and just enjoying it for what it is.
it just looks so good.
It is.
It looks
it's really
amazing.
good. Yeah, it is really good. Yeah.
Anything
Minimum
else at all
production
you've been
value?
watching?
Yeah, my movies. I'm a horror movie buff, so just like any horror movie coming out. There was one that came out on the TV the other day called Come Play, and it was about this monster called Larry, who wants this little kid. And I'm trying to remember. I think the kid has autism, which was a really interesting point to have in like a child's character in a horror movie. And this monster wants this kid to come play, but then it wants to like steal him into its own world. So it keeps crossing over from like this nightmare realm to like
Yeah.
play with this child.
Margaret's also pointed out spoilers alert for anyone who hasn't seen it. So making sure we don't give away too many spoilers about anything. But I mean,
Oh, I hope that wasn't a spoiler.
No,
I feel
no,
like
it's fine.
Larry the Monster is like the whole concept of the movie.
it's the whole main thing.
It's like the concept of the movie.
So yeah, I've been watching. Have you watched The White Lotus yet?
No.
No,
With,
I don't think I have. No.
Oh
No,
God,
not seen it. I don't think I've seen it.
that's it.
advertised.
It's bloody amazing. People were talking about it, and so we decided to watch it the other day. It's great. It's kind of just rich people being pretty awful in kind of sunny. One of them's set in Hawaii. The other one's set in oh God, where is in Italy. But there's all kind of different kind of relationships and things like that, and pretty much most people are just awful. But it's really interesting to watch, and yeah, it is quite a brilliant, glorious series. The other one as well, if you're into the horror stuff, we started watching Red Rose. Have you seen
Oh
that
yeah,
at
I
all?
binged that the other day.
Yeah,
Just
we
watched, like,
started
all of
watching it literally last night, and I
It's
really
good.
enjoyed it
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
because it's all set in Bolton, isn't it?
Yeah, it's set in Bolton. It felt very Black Mirror, actually.
Yeah, no, that was
really
exactly
did.
that's exactly what I my thoughts on it was.
Black Mirror in Bolton sounds right. That sounds good.
But the concept is that people get this kind of app that kind of appears on their phone, don't they?
Yeah.
Red
and it
Rose,
sort of
and it
talks
can-
to them.
Talks to them through dead people, and it's difficult to explain, but it definitely
Yeah, it
feels
is.
like
Yeah.
a Black Mirror episode. But I would highly recommend that.
Nice. Red Rose was that called?
It's called Red Rose, yeah.
Okay, great. I'll look it
So
up.
it's a really interesting one, and it does feel like the people that have made it are probably from Bolton, and they've done it to kind of have that. It's got that kind of very much kind of coming of age, kind of growing up in a certain area type feel to it as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting to see. Just having a look at some of the comments on here. So Ellie's been watching The Holy Grail, and recently rewatched them and definitely watched Chris Packham Inside Our Autistic Minds on BBC iPlayer. That could be quite interesting because Chris Packham, who I remember from the Really Wild show when I was growing up, everybody loves Chris Packham, but he's autistic, I think, isn't he, Chris Packham? And he's been quite a big advocate for kind of autism awareness and that kind of thing. So I think that could be quite an interesting one to watch. Alice, you looking forward to the horror Winnie the Pooh movie? No idea there was a horror Winnie the Pooh movie.
The thing is, like, all this Disney stuff is coming out of copyright now.
Yeah.
So the horror movie makers are like, oh, we can make horror movie versions of these Disney movies. And like, I've seen a little bit of like concept art from it. I'm absolutely going to watch
it. The film that keeps flashing up on our kind of list at the moment is Cocaine Bear or something like that. It's basically like a bear takes cocaine.
Have you heard about that story?
Not really.
I heard about it a few years ago because somebody was like, did you know there was a bear in the woods that got high on cocaine? And it turns out like these drug baron people were flying an aeroplane over the forest and they were going to get caught, so they had to like eject the coke out of the back of the plane, and it landed in the woods and a bear just ate all of it and went like full rampage.
But actually it just reminds me of the plot of Rampage. Do you remember? Did you ever watch that film Rampage?
No.
It's basically a kind of these kind of
I think like Dwayne Johnson one.
Yeah, it's got Dwayne Johnson, but I think that was based on a video game as well. But yeah, it's like the thing crashes down to Earth with some kind of I don't know, mutant thing in it, and it kind of some animals eat it and they grow massive and aggressive, and just sounds like the plot of that. So Martin Joe says the Really Wild show, loved it. Terry Nutkin, good old Terry Nutkins. You guys, does that mean anything to you, Terry Nutkins?
Terry Nutkins,
Yeah,
no.
I remember Terry Nutkins.
Terry Nutkins and Michaela Strachan.
Yeah. Yep.
On the Really Wild show when I was growing up. Oh dear me. Anyway, I guess I should play another song now, shouldn't I? Because time is ticking along a little bit. So, folks, I'm going to take you off the stream again, and I'm going to jump in and play a song. So, I'll see you in a second. Now, I haven't decided what song I'm going to play yet. So I'm going to pick up the ukulele and just play something. I'm just going to take this out as well. Don't forget, folks, if you want to give us some money, you can give us a donation through PayPal in the link below the video in the description. I'll be splitting that money equally among the three of us. So I played this one for the first time live fairly recently, so I might play this one. This is about my DIY experiences over lockdown. My bathroom tap was leaking, so I set about to seeking some advice from the good old internet, which caused me some frustration with conflicting information, so I had to have a sit down and pour myself a drink instead. The picture rail was falling, so to avoid the need for calling someone out who might charge us through the teeth, I acquired a Black & Decker, and though did not set out to wreck a perfectly good bit of plastering that once sat just beneath, the job conspired against me, ill preparation came to bite, the end result could hardly have been worse. I had simply failed to do the job I'd been entrusted to, so I folded in and did what I really should have done at first. I called someone to fix it, I called somebody over. I've no desire to do this with or without a hangover. My partner has been asking me to do this for a while, and so I turn and say to her with a sad and weary smile, it would require some basic skill, or some modicum of will, or reliance on assistance from a friend. And that's why I never try even simple DIY. I'd have to call someone to fix it in the end. We want to put up shelves so we can satisfy ourselves with all the things that we we've acquired across the years. So I set about to drilling, and then very nearly killing myself or causing lasting damage through the long frustrated tears. The bathroom tiles want grouting, but I know I'll end up shouting at myself as I somehow cause a wreck without sufficient tools or any knowledge of the rules that others seem to know instinctively without any need to check. This lack of expertise always brings me to my knees, and midway through I'll likely have a change of heart as I cry out for a foul, expleat, and then throw in the towel and resign myself to doing what I should have from the start. I'll call someone to fix it, I'll call somebody over. I've no desire to do this with or without a hangover. My partner has been asking me to do this for a while, and so I turn and say to her with a sad and weary smile, it would require some basic skill or some modicum of will or reliance on assistance from a friend. And that's why I never try even simple DIY. I'd have to call someone to fix it in the end. There we go, folks. Now, I know what I did just say. That was my experience during lockdown. But of course, that wasn't my experience during lockdown because you couldn't get anybody out to fix it. So I had to botch it together during that period. So things that went wrong in the house, I basically had to learn some very, very quick DIY during that period and ended up building more things than I've ever done in my life, I think. But there we go. I'm going to add everybody back into the stream again there now. Sorry, Alice, I keep kind of jumping in at exactly the wrong moment. So, yeah, there we go. Let's have a look at some more of the comments on here. The title is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Oh, I'm going to have to look out for that so much. I'm going to have to look out
It's
for
going
that
to ruin
so much.
everything, but I'm going to watch it.
Oh, yeah. I love those kind of those things. Chris says, I've recently been rewatching some old Ray Harryhausen movies like Jason and the Argonauts. I always loved those films. I remember when I was teaching media, we'd show Jason and the Argonauts, and the one I remember more than any of them was the original Clash of the Titans movie. That has various, I can't remember the actors that are in that now, but yeah, and that's the one I grew up with the kind of giant sea kraken thing.
I was always fascinated by the stop motion models. I
Yeah.
was just fascinated by that.
They had an exhibition at the film museum one year, and I took a bunch of students to see them. And it was just like I was fascinated. They were like, "Oh, can we just go to McDonald's?" And I was just like, kind of like looking at all of these kind of. I remember seeing that on a film as a child.
Wow. Yeah. No, that sounds fascinating, to be honest. I always associate with Jason and the Argonauts. I associate with Christmas. It's always on at Christmas time.
This is very true, actually. Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that? I don't know. I always flick past it at some point and end up watching it inevitably, of course. Yeah. So.
Right. So, okay. I just having a look at my running order here. So, what have we got planned for the rest of 2023 then? What are we doing? What have we got coming up? I'm going to start with Alice. What are your plans for the rest of the year? What have you got happening?
See, the last time somebody said, what plans have you got? I made plans and then... No, I do have plans for this year. Coming up, like, imminently, I'm going to re-release this next song that I'm going to sing, I'm going to re-release it, The Age of Elegance, because I released it during the lockdown. I did just a really small limited run because I thought it was one of those things where it's like, oh, I'll just release it, it'll go. And it turned out people really liked it, and now they keep bothering me. And goes, can I get a copy of this? And I was like, I guess I should probably re-release this. So I'm going to re-release The Age of Elegance. It's going to be the late May, early June time when I'm going to release that. It's going to have some new tracks on it as well. Some shiny new artwork because I've now learned how to do advanced selfies. So now I can do my own artwork as well. So it's going to have some an artwork on it.
I don't know if you've kind of been similar to this, but actually, have you found yourself really trying to kind of bring everything in house and trying to basically just do everything for yourself? Because I have to my own posters, my own graphics, all of this kind of stuff.
I've kind of always done that because I love doing graphics and stuff like that. But I did just be like, well, I can't be bothered to do the photos. I'll hire someone else to do it. But now I've kind of like, because during the lockdown I learned so much. I'm like, well, I can apply that to all the things I want and literally get exactly what is in my brain out of my brain now. So I don't have to like try and describe it to someone else, try and like explain what's going on. So
I've got to. I must actually make a thing. I just said, I do my own graphics. I don't do my own graphics because that's the one thing I'm crap at. I might actually farm that out to Jason, who is a graphic designer that I work with, and he generally does that. But then I kind of use the creative stuff that he's done and kind of piece that together.
Yeah.
So the things that you're seeing on the screen and stuff at the moment, of the shapes and stuff, Jason did those. And now I'm just kind of finding places to apply them, putting them liberally everywhere.
Yeah, so I've started just like doing it all myself now, really. And then later on in the year, I'm working on actual like proper new music finally. And so hoping to get that out later this year. That'll be around like probably August-ish sort of time. So there'll hopefully be a brand new EP as well, plus gigs and everything.
Have you got any shows booked for the rest of the year? Have you got anything coming up?
Yeah, I've got a few. Trying to remember off the top of my head. I've got one coming up in Lincoln at the Stag's Head. The Lincoln Steampunk Society is doing just a little kind of free spring soiree thing. It's me and Lady Violet Hugh are doing a gig on the 15th of March at the Stag's Head, and that is free. So we're really looking forward to that one. And then I've got some in Shrewsbury and down south. I don't know where the heck I'm going. It's like, I don't know. I have to go look at my events list on my webpage to have a clue where I'm going.
So have you got a lot of festivals booked in for this year?
I've got a couple of festivals. It tends to be like the fairy festival type things that I've got booked in, and stuff like that. I think I really want to get into like slightly more mainstream festivals as well. Would be really nice.
That's the struggle, isn't it? Because I mean, I don't know if you find this as well, Chris, but actually knowing who to approach and kind of speak to about it. Because actually, when you're on a small scene, you probably kind of bumped into the person who's organising events and things like that.
Yeah, it's the whole. I suppose when it's the mainstream festival circuit, it's like big fish, small pond scenario of like if you're in a scene and you know everyone in that scene, it's very easy to get gigs. And mainstream gigs, it's like, or mainstream festivals, quite difficult to get a hold of. A lot of the festivals that I've done in the past are just like, you have a contact for a short period of time and then don't do it again.
They're no longer doing it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, they're no longer involved, and then your entire bridge is burned to that festival.
But I mean, from my perspective, I hadn't been doing music since early 2000s. So everybody, until I started doing it again in 2016, 2017, and 2018 when I was trying to actually book shows. By that point, nobody I knew was doing it anymore. Everybody I went to university with had kind of kids and kind of jobs elsewhere and stuff as well. And so you end up just in that position where I don't know anybody who does this anymore.
And then it's like trying to make a new connection with someone. You're desperately trying to show them, like, I am good. Please let me in.
Yeah. And I think, me and Tom were talking about this earlier, that, when you've got quite a unique niche that you're doing your music in, it can be quite hard to get that across to someone or describe it to someone who's trying to book acts for a festival or put something on BBC Introducing or something. Sometimes
for example,
it just doesn't come across as well.
I get told, well, it sounds like it should be a musical, so what do you want me to do with it? I get that a lot. So I'm kind of trying to, going forwards, I'm trying to make it seem less of a musical, but still me. So that hopefully people let me in.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because that's what makes you as well. I suppose.
Exactly.
So you don't want to get rid of that. But
exactly.
I don't even get replies half the time. I just get roundly ignored.
That's the classic one. Yeah.
The thing is, I've always been of the assumption that no answer is an answer.
Yeah. If you don't hear anything.
I'm not pushing again.
I'm a bit of a fan of the follow up though. At least one follow-up. Because I've always found, like, especially like trying to book festivals over the years, you send 100 emails, you might get a couple of replies
Yeah.
back or something. But as long as if you follow up, I think you'll always at least get an acknowledgement like, oh, sorry, you were not what you're looking for. Sorry, you missed the email. Or at least you like get them to look at it again, I think. But yeah, it's also just about finding the right festivals, I think, as well.
I think that's the big challenge, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Finding the right places and the right festivals.
Yeah, we can all apply to the emerging music contest in Glastonbury Festival, but they've only got a set amount of places, haven't they? It's very tough. But if you can get something like for Glastonbury, for example, just has so many smaller stages that people don't realise are just run by a few people
about
who
finding out who runs those
It's like, who
particular
runs
things.
that? How do I get
Yeah,
them? Yeah.
it's such a who you know business, isn't it? It's yeah.
Anyway,
I'm
on
very-
that note, I'm going to hand over to Alice now. Chris, I'm going to ask you about what you're up to in the next bit.
Cool.
So I'm going to hand back over to Alice Strange again now for her third and final song of the evening. So Chris, I'll take you out. I've just got to make sure that I'm doing the right person. So folks, handing back over to Alice Strange.
There was a time when beauty was the beast, no space for individuality. They stole our charms with their machines. Now fields are filled with factories, just staples where our stitches used to be. But now the stage for splendor is prepared, so usher in the renaissance for savoir-faire. A revival of the chic, the delicious, the unique, a show that you just can't catch anywhere. The age of elegance is dead, and the ship has sailed on dressing to impress. Full artistry of law, flair and mastery, grandeur. I know some say less is more, but less is less. Last time I checked, more was more and less was less. There is a place where opulence is cheered, flamboyant self-expression fair revered. The closet where your dreams are made, a veritable freak parade, no room for mediocrity in here. And now the stage for splendor is prepared, so usher in the renaissance for savoir-faire. No space within this scene for the dour or routine. It's a season for the suave and debonair. The age of elegance is dead, and the ship has sailed on dressing to impress. For artistry and law, flair and mastery, grandeur. I know some say less is more, but less is less. Last time I checked, more was more and less was less. If I could have my way, be queen for just a day, the streets would be a carnival, the weird and the wonderful. It would be insanity to say the age of elegance is dead. The ship has sailed on dressing to impress. For artistry and law, flair and mastery, grandeur. I know some say less is more, but less is less. The age of elegance is dead. The ship has sailed on dressing to impress. For artistry and law, flair and mastery, grandeur. I know some say less is more, but less is less. Last time I checked, more is more and less was less. More is more and less was less. More is more and less was less. More is more and less was less.
Excellent stuff there. Excellent stuff there from Alison Strange. Thank you, Alice Strange.
Alison, you name.
The third one.
So I've just got a cramp in my leg.
Oh no!
Oh,
Glad it's not just
that's
me.
the
I'm
worst.
pins and needles too.
oh, I need to stand up.
It's funny when it happens to someone else, but it really hurts.
I just, when you could.
He's out for the count. I'll
Hold on a
carry on,
sec, guys.
Tom.
Hold on. I'm going to have to sit with my legs stretched out for a second. Thank you very much. So, Ellie says, absolutely brilliant, Alice. JG says, Ursula vibes.
Ooh, I take that. I'll take that.
Yes.
Give myself a Disney villain.
Talking of Ursula, this is my beard comb at the moment.
I love that.
It's basically the best brush I've ever found for doing my beard with. So that just sits on my desk
Oh, I love that.
to tidy up and neaten up my.
I also have to ask, is that a T-Rex behind you?
It is, yeah, it is a T-Rex behind me, with a little ribbon that says "Best in Show" on it.
Oh,
Did show. Oh, I won the pageant.
But I've also got that, which is we're a little bit Jurassic
Oh,
Park
Jurassic Park, yeah.
theme in this house, and I've got the authentic one up there as well with the embryos in it.
I can see that. And it almost looks like a picture of you as well at the back with a hat on, but I guess
That is a picture of me. Yeah, that's
Is it?
I'm going to forget his name now.
is it Greg with Dartbox?
That is, yeah, it's Greg with Dartbox.
Yes.
That's right, yeah. He does tintype photography. So you basically just sit there for a little while. Was it like 30 seconds or something? You have to sit really
don't
still.
Breathe, don't blink, don't move.
But yeah, I look like a cowboy in it. Hold on. It looks absolutely like something out of some kind of there we go.
Oh, that's
Oh,
amazing.
that's so good.
Yeah.
But basically, everybody on the steampunk scene, all the performers on the steampunk scene, he's done those for
Yeah,
us.
I've got a load of them. Every time I go to an event, I'm like, can I have a picture?
Oh, nice. They look so good. I've got to get down to one of these steampunk events. They sound really fun.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
So, Chris, anyway, kind of moving on, what have you got planned for the rest of this year?
Funnily enough, I've got a couple of gigs next month, Tom, in Newcastle and Sheffield. You might have known about these.
So, so Chris and I are playing some gigs in Sheffield and Newcastle.
Very much looking forward to those. I haven't been back to Newcastle and Sheffield in a while, and I always love playing there, so looking forward to those.
I've never been to either. So.
Ah, right. Never even visited.
I've been through Sheffield, and I think I visited a friend at university in
Born
Sheffield.
in Sheffield.
Ah,
Yeah.
no way. Nice. Yeah, I really like Sheffield. It's great. And Newcastle too. Looking forward to going back to those. I've got another show in Salford in April, which is like it's like a singers in the round sort of thing, like they have in sort of Nashville style thing. It's a lot of country acts are coming up to do it, and because my stuff's quite lyrical, they wanted me to come along and do that. There's a whole tour that they're doing.
So when's that, and where is it? Can people go along to it?
Yes, of course. Sacred Trinity Church. It's at in Salford. I think it's the 27th of April on a Thursday. So that's going to be a really good night. Lots of chatting about songwriting as well. A bit like this. It's really nice, kind of informal. But people just doing songs and that kind of thing live. So that'd be great. And then beyond that, I'm looking at doing another full band show again. I did some full band stuff last year, so I'd love to take them all on tour, but it's an expensive thing to getting all these session musicians to go around the country. But
it's bloody lovely playing with a full band, but it's like herding cats, isn't it?
I would love to play with a live band, but
it's difficult and costly, and getting everybody to rehearse together is just it's like herding cats, as you say. So, but I would like to do maybe 2 or 3 one-off shows, at least one up here in Manchester. I could keep trying to play. There's some venues I really want to play, so
what I would absolutely love to do is have a band that is kind of the permanent band that you kind of play with, who share in the success. Because that's one thing I always miss playing as a solo act, particularly if I don't have a support act that I know and I'm friends with. Is you go along and you have a really good gig, and you're like, brilliant, that's great.
To share that with, is there?
I'm going back to the hotel room by myself now.
It's so true. Yeah, it is so true. And that's why it's nice touring with other people as well, even if you're a solo act.
Yeah,
putting on a gig where it's like 2 or 3 of you in the same gig, it's really fun to do that. But the camaraderie of a band is something I really miss.
And have you got any plans for any new music at all?
Yes, I'm writing a lot. So at the moment, I'm not sure what form it's going to take. I'd really like to release a studio album. I've done a live album before, and I've done a few EPs. Feels like the right time to do an album. But yeah, again, it's a cost thing. I think what I might do is release a series of singles. I build an album from that. It seems to be quite a common thing to do these days. Like, I think they call it waterfalling, where you like release a single and then you add the next single to that playlist on Spotify, and it kind of grows in that way.
No, I've not come across that idea.
Yeah, it's quite good because then you kind of build the streams up as you go, and yeah, it's quite an interesting idea. So I'm going to release a couple of singles this year, I think. But I know also an exclusive as well. I launched a Patreon today as well, so I'm very excited about that. Hopefully that's going to get me writing and releasing a lot more kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've found that Patreon does kind of keep me on my toes, and you have to kind of really be thinking about kind of things to do on there. It leaves me feeling quite guilty a lot of the time as well. That I don't do enough.
I avoided Patreon like the plague. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to feel guilty. I'm going to feel guilty.
Yeah, I was the same as you, Alice. Really, I think like during lockdown, I was just like, well, it's too much stress to even like keep my head above water here, like mentally and stuff. Yeah. I did find it to be a very creative time for me, whereas like now I'm finding I'm writing a lot and I've got a lot of ideas for it. I think that will make me excited to do it. So we'll see how long that lasts. But I think it will be good. So that's what I've launched today. I haven't announced it yet, but I've just kind of pressed the launch button and it's live. It's happening. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out as well. So that's really what I've got planned.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, so myself and Chris, just to remind you, are playing in Sheffield on the 11th of March.
Yes, 10th and 11th. Yeah.
Yeah, so 10th of March, Friday the 10th, it's the Friday basically, on 10th of March at the Dorothy Pax in Sheffield, and then on Saturday the 11th of March we're going to be at the Cumberland Arms in Newcastle. And we play songs together and all of that kind of thing as well.
Yeah,
we've got it down as a finely tuned machine now, haven't we?
Exactly. Yeah, it's we've had enough practice now. It's going to be really fun. I can't wait to do it again. Actually, it was such a good tour in November.
Well, it's just nice. It's nice having somebody to talk to. As well, just going to be honest with that. Is why actually, when I that first show that I came and did down in Gosport with yourself and Victor and the Bully, Alice. I didn't really know anybody at that point. I didn't have any kind of like music mates.
Around by yourself. I
didn't know anybody. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any kind of musician mates really at that point either. It was just because
it like you didn't have much merch either, did you? You came in and you were just
I didn't know what I was doing.
We came out and rolled out like these huge tables.
And like I only had one album out at that point as well, so I had my like CD. It's like, oh man.
We were just there with everything.
Yeah.
But no, I'm much better at that now as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at him now. I can barely find room on that merch table.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hand over to Chris now for his last song of the evening. So Alice, I'll bring you back in at the end as well. So I'll see you in a second. I'm going to hand over to Chris in a second. Just to remind you, folks, thank you for watching. If you've been enjoying this evening, make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to mine, Chris's and Alice's YouTube channels if you haven't done so already. And if you feel so inclined, you can give us a tip in the description. There's a link to PayPal in there where you can give us a PayPal tip, which will be divided equally among the three of us. Handing you now over to the wonderful Mr. Chris Tavener for his last song of the evening. Oh, let's remove myself.
Thank you very much, Tom. This last song is a face tap there to refocus. So this last song, Tom was talking there a little bit about collaborating on stage, and we decided, I think, earlier we were going to maybe collaborate a bit with this. The new show's coming up. This is a song I often finish my sets with, and again, it's quite relevant because we were talking about festivals earlier. This is called Let's All Go to a Festival, and I think it can capture some of that spirit of the UK music festivals. If you've ever been, and if you've never been, you might never go after this song. Well, let's all go to a festival. The weather is sure to be good, where rivers run thick with sewage and sick, where the grass lies under the mud. Oh, the wildlife is certainly wild and glowing with bright UV paint. From streakers to druggies to hipsters and hippies and teenagers reeking of shame. Oh, let's all go to a festival. Oh, let's get high off our heads. We'll constantly drink, we'll constantly stink, we'll soak in our watery beds. Oh, let's all go to a festival where sleeping rough never gets old. Lost in a field wearing dripping wet clothes, we'll piss and shit in a hole. Oh, let's bring a suitcase of alcohol and we'll drag it for 200 miles. The clothes that we packed won't be coming back. We'll burn them in fiery piles. And we'll gather with 10,000 strangers and stand in a huge pit of sweat. Hungry and thirsty, bladders all bursting while singers delay every set. Oh, let's all go to a festival. Oh, let's get high off our heads. We'll constantly drink, we'll constantly stink, we'll soak in our watery beds. Oh, let's all go to a festival where sleeping rough never gets old. Oh, lost in a field wearing dripping wet clothes, they'll piss and shit in a hole. Oh, let's all go to a festival and let's lose the stuff that we brought. Oh, we'll miss the band that we'd previously planned to go to this fustercluck for. Oh, let's all go to a festival and we'll spend every penny we own. Then sit on a bus looking like we got mugged and wish that we weren't going home.
Excellent work there, sir. Excellent work. Just bringing Alice back into the stream there now, who's also brought a friend.
It's another special guest.
It's a special guest. This is Gadget.
Oh,
Oh, nice to meet you, Gadget.
Yeah.
now I seem to remember meeting Gadget at Woodhall Spa.
Yeah, you did.
and
Oh, he was in his little buggy.
His little buggy. Oh, lovely. Hello, Gadget. I would bring Suki in. She's far too big and far too old.
That's the good thing about
and
little ones.
she'd clunk around and probably knock into things. Which she did actually. The very first live stream I was trying to do from in here, she kind of did a stage invasion right at the end, and literally you see the camera wobble, and she nearly trips over all the leads and things like that.
Sorry, I was choking down there. Nice.
Anyway, guys, folks, I should say, thank you for joining me this evening. Thank you for humouring me and jumping on. And Alice, for resetting up your, dusting off your live stream
I had to
equipment.
dust off all my live feed setup. Oh, I thought it was done with that. Damn it.
And then Chris also kind of getting somebody in especially to to sort this out for him.
It's like your song, Tom, as well. Getting the DIY help.
Yeah, get somebody to fix
I
it.
was just like, no, I can't. I was having too many problems. There's like, I need someone else's help here. It's ridiculous.
This is it. But actually, you know, it having to do all of this stuff in the last couple of years have made us very self-sufficient. So, folks, if you haven't done so already, make sure you do jump on and subscribe to Chris's channel and subscribe to Alice's channel. They're both on YouTube. They both have social media. You're on all the social medias, aren't you guys?
Yes.
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 So,
All of
even
the
on the
socials.
TikToks.
Yeah,
Even on
I've
the
got TikTok
TikToks.
as well now.
Yeah. Yeah. the
Probably
fun world.
Twitter's the only one I'm not really doing that much at the moment. Aria's and the Nation has joined in. Hi there. Nice to see you there. but I'm just, yeah. So again, I'm getting distracted now. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to talk to you once we've finished the stream, and I'm going to play one more song to close off. But do stick around because I'll have a we'll have a debrief at the end.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm gonna find you on YouTube too, Alice. I'm gonna subscribe.
Yeah, yeah, and you as well. Yeah, and thanks for having us on, Tom. Thanks.
No,
Yes,
absolutely
thank
my
you.
pleasure. It's been absolutely my pleasure. So I'm going to remove you both from the stream, but I'll talk to you again in a second. Okay, folks. Well, thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'm going to play one last song for you before I disappear off and have me dinner, which I've not had yet. This is a song off my first album. And it's about the joys of not having children. I'm tired of conversations with my friends and family about what I think the future holds for my best girl and me. I fully understand exactly what they're driving at, and unfortunately my answer tends to leave them somewhat flat. Unsubtle hints are met with awkwardness, so I feel I am required to confess. I don't want kids, I just want pets. I can't foresee that this will be one of my great regrets. Your kids are fine, 'cause they're not mine. To me a life lived without children sounds divine. I try to make excuses when folks arrive with their baby. There's nothing I dread more than someone handing it to me, but declining offers to have them rested on your knee makes one a pariah within polite society. The room looks round with eyes of pure dismay, and no one will believe it when you say, I don't want kids, I just want pets. I can't foresee that this will be one of my great regrets. Your kids are fine, 'cause they're not mine. To me a life lived without children sounds divine. I know children can be fun, and yours I'm very fond of, it is true. The advantage is that when I grow weary of their noise, I can direct them back to you. I don't want kids, I just want pets. I can't foresee that this will be one of my great regrets. Your kids are fine, 'cause they're not mine. To me a life lived without children sounds divine. I don't want kids, I just want pets. I can't foresee that this will be. Your kids are fine, 'cause they're not mine. To me a life lived without children sounds divine. Thank you very much, folks. If you've enjoyed this evening, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe to all of our channels. If you want to leave us a tip, you can on PayPal through the link in the description. In the meantime, though, stay safe, and until next time, toodle.